Why is the shopping cart always in the top right of the screen?
How do companies predict my purchases?
Why do prices end in 9?
Why do fast food companies use red and yellow in their logos?
Why do restaurants always have one expensive menu item?
Researchers, marketers, and very curious people seek the answers for how we make decisions and how we choose products. Clicksuasion finds the secrets that companies use and shares them with you.
Why do I feel better when I bought the last remaining airline ticket?
How do I make choices based on colors and fonts?
Welcome back to Clicksuasion. This is Michael Barbera at Clicksuasion Labs, your source for behavioral science news. Today we're going to talk about emotion in negotiation. So emotion shouldn't have a place in negotiation because it should be an objective, thought out process. But we know it always doesn't go like that. Someone is likely to be insulted, someone's likely to be upset, and emotion is likely to be used. Emotion is likely to be used against you, and there's a way to counter that, and we're going to discuss the future value of money in negotiation. Before we get there, I want to tell a quick story about what's been circulating around the lab today. When I speak to strategy sessions and workshops, I often get the question about, Mike, what type of promotional product should I use for my marketing? Should I get a t-shirt with the company logo on it? Should we get pens? Should we do water bottles, coffee mugs? Those are all good answers. So I like to look back at the story of the conference. Think about the last time you went to a conference and you received that goodie bag. Well, that goodie bag had brochures, pens, t-shirts, a water bottle, a mug, all this stuff inside of it. And we asked, well, what did you keep? Well, more than likely, the attendees would say, well, I kept a couple of pens and everything else went in the trash. We dig a little deeper and we learned that most people keep the bag. Well, it seems like the bag is the way to go since most people keep the bag. But then you want to get the best possible product that your budget can afford. Don't go get the cheap bag or the cheap pens, because if the pen stops working after 2 uses or the bag breaks after you insert 5 pounds into the bag, then that customer or client is likely to associate that cheap bag or cheap pen with the quality of your product. So get the best quality product that you can afford. And if you're engaged with the conference, the bag is likely the way to go. Now, there's more variables involved. So the bag is a generic 30,000 foot recommendation, but your data will tell a story. So beyond that, I took a flight from Atlanta to Las Vegas last week. And this was the very first time that I had a bag lost by an airline. I got the bag back a few hours later. It was on the very next flight from Atlanta to Las Vegas. So I had a very positive experience beyond the misplacement of the bag. When I went to the Delta Airlines baggage counter to report the missing bag, they filed a report and they gave me a hygiene kit. It had toothpaste, toothbrush, floss, Q-tips, every kind of hygiene item I would possibly need to survive 4 or 5 days. Now, I only needed it for 3 hours, so it was a little overkill, but the experience was there, and I actually still used some of those items. Although most of those items went into the trash or not used or not going to be used, what I did keep was the bag. The bag that was provided for the hygiene kit was a canvas bag, a dirty white, off-white color with a blue zipper, very good quality, and it had the brand name of the people who provided the hygiene kit, not Delta, but the actual hygiene company. Very nice quality bag. I still don't have a use for it. Don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I still have the bag. So my personal experience with keeping the bag in conjunction with the stories that I teach when I am facilitating marketing workshops. Let's talk about what we came here to discuss. That is emotion in negotiation. Recently, I was involved in a negotiation process where one party said, we want to increase the fee by $55,000. But they didn't offer anything else. They just said, it's a higher fee. The countering party or the opposite party said, okay, I guess we'll pay it. So asking a reflective question, I say, well, what are you going to get in return for the additional $55,000? And most of the answers were nothing. And when we probe a little more, we ask a couple whys. Well, why do you feel you don't want anything in return, or you're not going to get anything in return? The most common answer was, well, he's a nice guy. Okay, that's good. I'll make you a deal. I consider myself a nice guy. How about I take $40,000, you save 15, and we both win? So there's a lot of emotion in negotiation. We use it, and the people who counter us use it as well. It's brought to the table, and it's used long before we even get to the table. But when we're at the table, one of the most significant behavioral science constructs in negotiation is called the future value of money. You've heard this negotiation tactic. It's been used on you. I can almost without speaking in absolutes, I can almost guarantee it's been used on you. And you might have even used it yourself. So here it is. Here's the future value of money. If you reduce your fee now, we promise you all this extra work in the future. If you give us this concession today, we promise to refer you to 5 people in a year. If you drop your fee by half, we'll give you so much extra work in Q4. We've heard this so many times, and we all know it is straight BS. Is there someone who has kept their word to that future value of money? Probably somewhere. In all of the research we've ever done for all the negotiation training we do here at the lab, we've never seen a person follow through with their future value request. Even if the scope of work in the project was a phenomenal success, every benchmark was achieved, every goal was maintained and occurred, and it was a complete success, 100%, even beyond what was expected as a successful campaign or project. The other person still never provided the information that they, air quotes, promised, and air quotes. And the reason being is because it's a negotiation tactic to convince you to lower your fee and use emotion. Well, that person's going to give me all this extra stuff in the future if I just lower my fee now, or if I give this concession today. And so what that's doing is it's priming you to say, I'll give in. But it's also insulting you, because deep down inside, you know that's probably not going to happen. And what happens in the future, more than likely, the person who suggests that they'll give you that extra work or X in the future, what they actually give you is more headache, because they know they can get you at a reduced rate, or they got you at a reduced rate, so they'll continue to probe you to hire you at a reduced rate, or continuously get concessions from you. So there's 3 different ways that we could overcome the future value of money in negotiation. The very first one is know your BATNA and equal value. So your BATNA is the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. What is your plan B? What is the lowest you're willing to accept, or the last possible offer before you walk away from the table? That's your BATNA. In conjunction with number 1 in the BATNA, it's your equal value. How you counter is say, well, if you want X for a price, then let's take off ABC. So you need to remove something of value from what you're providing that client or customer in that negotiation. If that person is asking for X, Y, and Z, but they only want to pay for X, then you provide them X or something valuable to X, not X, Y, and Z. Number 2, leave. Get out. Walk out of that meeting or hang up the phone. And here's how you do that in a very polite and tactful way. Excuse me, hold on 1 second. I got to run to the restroom. Hold that thought. And you walk right out and go to the restroom. Then when you come back in, before you even enter that room, before you even close that door behind you, you start talking and you start asking your probing questions, your who's, your what's, and your why's. You now maintain or have regained control of the conversation. If you're on the telephone, hold on 1 second. Let me call you back in 3 seconds. I have a potential mini crisis. Hang up. Then call right back. And as soon as the person answers, go right into your probing questions. Regain control of the conversation. The last one, and very controversial and very powerful one, is emotion. Respond to their emotion with emotion. And so here's how that conversation goes. John, if you reduce your fee today, we promise you all this extra work in Q4 and Q1 of the next year. Well, Mr. Negotiator, beside me is my partner, Steve. Steve has 3 children. Why do you feel like Steve can't feed his children this year? And shut up. and stay quiet. It's a very persuasive tactic. It is controversial. It is a way of using the flinch minus. If you want to learn more about the flinch, we could talk about this at a later date. The flinch is a very persuasive tool that will always work, but it always works in a bad way for you. You always have a bad user experience at the end. You don't actually have a positive relationship after using the flinch. So this is the flinch minus. This is a way to be as powerful as the flinch, but still have a positive relationship, because that person will respect you. And if as long as you don't talk right away and let that person respond, more than likely they're going to backpedal, they're going to apologize, and they realize that they're out of line because they disrespect you, they disrespect your team, and they don't value what you provide, especially what you provide to your families. That's negotiating with emotion, at least a short little bit of it, only a few minutes. There's plenty more in our negotiation training sessions. There's plenty more on our website at clicksuasion.com, or if you're looking for content only, always go to persuasive.af. This is Michael Barbera from Clicksuasion Labs, Pinehurst, North Carolina.
Thanks for listening to Clicksuasion. Subscribe to the podcast, read our research, and get in touch with us at clicksuasion.com. You can also find us on Twitter with the handle @Clicksuasion.